Welcome back, true creators. Ah, yes, the MetaHuman. So many moving parts. But even though it has all these moving parts, I'm going to show you how to swap those parts with only one button click. I hope you're excited. Let's go. Okay, so to start out with, just make sure that you have two MetaHumans that you want to use. Like I personally have them right here inside of the third person under blueprints. So make sure you have those. And also, you might want to make sure that you have it to where you can move the character around. So adding the logic to it, okay? So once that's started, then we can finally begin. Okay, so to start out with, let's just go ahead. We're gonna make two different assets right here. So let's go ahead and put the assets right next to our third person blueprints folder, right next to our other characters here. So we're gonna right click and we're gonna go to blueprints and we're gonna go to structure. We're gonna name this first one S underscore character appearance. Okay. Do a Control Shift S to save. And then we're going to do a Control D to duplicate that. And instead of this one be calling appearance, we're going to call this one color. So character color. Okay. Control Shift S. And we can go ahead and we can double click and open this one first. Okay. Now for this first one here, we're going to call this the face. And we're going to use a skeletal mesh asset. So we're going to type in right here, instead of Boolean, we're going to type in skeletal mesh. Actually, we just go skeletal mesh object reference right here. And we can do a save. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another variable. And you see it's populated as a skeletal mesh. And we're going to call this one the body, okay? Then after that, we're going to add another variable here. But for this particular variable, we're going to rename this to fuzz. Okay, and that's going to be like the fuzz of the MetaHuman's hair that we're putting here. And then what we want is, instead of skeletal mesh here, we want a groom asset, okay? Okay, so groom asset object reference, okay? Now, we're going to add, let's see, a couple more. We're going to add, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 4 more I want to say. So just go ahead and add them. So just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just going to need to name those real quick, okay? So for this one, we're just going to call this eyebrow. For this next one, we're going to call this hair. Wait, hold on. There we go. Hair. This one, we're just going to call it eyelashes. If I can spell it right. Or eyelash. And then for this final one, we're going to call it, oh, no, not the final one. I'm sorry. Beard. And then we're going to add one more variable. And for this variable, we're just going to call it mustache. And then we're just going to do a save. Okay, with that being said, we can go ahead, we can close this out. And now let's open up our structure, our color, character color, okay? Now for this one, we're going to use something called a material instance, okay? So we're gonna just type in material instance. And we're gonna do the object reference, okay? Now, for this first one, we're just gonna call it body, okay? And enter. And then what we wanna do here is we're gonna do one more, right? And we're gonna call this one face 0. It'll make sense soon here. And actually, as far as the body, we can add a 0 to there as well. Oh, wait, I'm spelling that completely wrong. Let's try that again. Body 0. Okay. Now, for this next part, the only thing I'm doing here is we're gonna just add 14 of these variables. So we got 0, so we're gonna add, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 14. And all we're doing is we're gonna call them faces 1 through 14 here. So I'm not gonna make you guys wait through this. I'm just gonna go ahead and speed run it. All right, here we go. Okay, so now it's very important that we change the, I believe it's face number 2 and 8. We're going to change those into material. Okay, so you're going to go to 2, right, and you're going to just type in material, and we're going to do an object reference for material. Okay. Same thing with number 8 here. So make sure this is, yeah, face number 2. So actually what we can do is we can just, yeah, we can go right to number 8. Make sure we're on number 8 and do the same thing. All right, so now that that's done, we're gonna go back, and actually we don't really need this now, so we can close that out and we can go to the content folder. And what we wanna do here is, like, so for me, I'm gonna go to my content folder. I'm gonna go to my MetaHuman, right? And I'm going to pick the MetaHuman that I wanna use as far as for my blueprint here. So right here, my character blueprint is this Jane right here. I'm just gonna double click and open her up. Okay, so while we're here inside of this MetaHuman, what we wanna do is we're gonna create 2 functions, okay? So let's go ahead and start with that. So right here on the left, we're gonna hit this plus button, and we're gonna call this first function, let's see, let's see, let's call it F character color. Okay, and then just hit enter. Then we want to make one more, and this is going to be F character appearance. Okay. Now, just so we make sure we're not confused, let's just go ahead and close some of these tabs up here so we can leave the viewport. Well, let's do a compile and a save. We're going to leave these up here. We're going to close this move here. I'm going to close this aim here. And we're going to select this F appearance here, okay? So this is where we're going to start building our logic. Okay, so normally I would try to speed run this, but I think it's vital if I go through this step by step. So this video may take a little bit longer, but all right, let's see what we got. So we're gonna need to grab 2 different parts of the mesh. So we're gonna need to grab the face mesh and drag that onto the viewport here. And we're also gonna grab the body, okay? Now with these 2, we're just going to drag off of it, and we're gonna do a set skeletal mesh. Set skeletal mesh asset, okay? And we can go ahead and we can do a duplicate here, and we can go ahead and add the body one here. Let's see. Sorry, to the target. Okay, that's the important thing. Line this up. All right, next, let's see, because we're gonna be moving some stuff around here, so we're gonna need to grab the rest of the assets for the appearance, which means we have to grab all of our hair assets, which are all right here, right? So let's just go ahead and we're just gonna grab and drag them onto the actual viewport. So we're gonna start with, I guess, yeah, we're gonna do, let's see, fuzz. We'll just go in order. Fuzz, eyebrows, grab the hair, grab this here, and grab the beard. I guess we put that over there, and the mustache over here, okay? Now, for these, it's slightly different. We're just gonna grab the groom asset. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna do groom asset, okay? And actually we want to set the groom asset like this, okay? And we can duplicate that. And make sure we hook up the target like so. Now, let's just go ahead. We're going to move this down a little bit. And we need these two right here. We're gonna do a left click and control. So we select both of these and then do a control D. And we're gonna set this one right under this one. And we're gonna move this down, right? Move this up. And we're going to, let's see, we're gonna do a control left click and select that again and do another duplicate. And then right here, we can just go ahead and plug in all our variables. Now remember, all the variables have to be plugged into the target, right? And then just neaten it up. Yeah, I know it takes a little bit of time, but remember, if you keep your code nice and neat and clean, it'll be easier to troubleshoot later if you have any issues, okay? All right, so now we need to connect all this stuff up. We're gonna hold down the S key, as in Sam, and do a left click, and we're gonna create a sequence here, right? And put that there. And we're gonna add, let's see, one, maybe two more of these. So that's gonna be, you're gonna have 0 through 3. And then what we wanna do is just hook them up accordingly. So we're gonna hook up this one here. Well, actually, yeah, before we do that, because I know this can get confusing, I'm gonna do it like this. Okay, so we know that this one is the face. So we're gonna drag off of here, and all we're doing is we're going in order. So see that green check mark right there? That's going to give us our new mesh. We're gonna highlight that, and then right here in the details panel, we're just gonna call this face. Okay? Same thing here, we're gonna drag off again. This one's gonna be called body. And we're gonna do that for the rest, okay? So, and just go in order from left to right, you know, through it. So we're gonna drag off of here, connect to here, and, you know, name them as you go so you don't lose what you're doing. Because like right here, I know this is fuzz, right? So we're gonna type in fuzz, right? And then we're just gonna go down the line. Got the eyebrows. And just, like I said, just keep dragging and dropping it in. I guess in this case, I'll do 2 real quick. So we know this asset 1 is gonna be the hair. This next asset here is gonna be the beard, because that's what we gotta, or I'm sorry, not the beard, the eyelashes. That's why you kinda wanna do it one at a time. Then we're gonna grab the mustache. And then finally, we're gonna make sure we grab our beard. Okay? Now, we wanna go ahead and connect the sequence node so that way we can have all of these different attributes apply. That's what the set actual asset means. It means that you can set the actual character, set the meshes or the groom assets in this case, okay? And like I said, try to keep your stuff as neat as possible, okay? All right, make sure we do a compile and a save. All right, now moving on. We're going to do this character color. Now, this one's gonna be a little bit unique, a little bit different, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna definitely take the body, okay? So we're gonna grab the body of the character. We're gonna drag off of here and we're gonna set material. Actually, let me see. Let's try it this way. Let's do a right click and let's do a set material. And for the set the material, we want to do the body. So set material body is what you want right here, okay? And you want to make sure we drag and do the same thing like we did before. And we're just going to call this body 0, okay? So we're not going to call it material, we're going to call it body 0. So material, no. Let's do body 0, okay? Now, here's the thing. We're going to need to make about another, for the color of the meshes, we're going to make about another, I want to say another 15 of these. So we're going to add here. We're just going to add one here, and we're going to change this to, let's see. Okay, we're going to actually, let's move this up here like this. And I think what we want to do is we're going to grab the face, right? Drag that, put that on here. And what we want to do is, well, actually, no, let me delete that. Let's try this again. Let's do a set material. And we want to set the material for the face, okay? Now, material means this is how we're going to change our colors. Now, what we're going to do is, and I know this is going to seem strange, is we're going to be doing a lot of duplicating. So let's go ahead and do a left click here, do a Control D, right? And right here, we can link these together, it's fine. We're going to do that again, and we're going to duplicate again. And that should give us 4 of these in a row, okay? This is what we want. Now, we're going to highlight all these again, and actually, let's do it this way. We're going to highlight all this, and we're going to do a Control D again, right? Put that here. And then we're going to do a Control D again, right here, and we're going to line that up like that, okay? Now, here's what we can do. We're going to drag, let's see, we're going to drag and make sure we hit all the targets, okay? You know, if I was thinking I should have did this first before duplicating, but that's okay. We're here now. That's okay. So we want to do that the same for all of these, okay? So make sure we drag and touch each of these targets. All right. Now, what we're going to need to do is, so we're going to leave this one at 0, okay? We're going to make this one, we're going to call this 1, and just go through and just label all these from left to right. Okay, so I made a slight, not a mistake, but something that'd make it a little easier is we're just going to highlight all this right here, these last 2 right here, and we're just going to go ahead and duplicate that and put that over here because I'm a little bit short on how many actual things I need here. So let's just go ahead and copy that again like that. And again, sorry about the mistake. I'm leaving this mistake in the video in hopes that it will be a learning lesson. So now, so we need, like I said, like 14 or 15 of these, so we can delete this last one. So the first 2 is going to be 6 and 12, and then the final is going to be the final 3. So now let's go back through. So we got 0 through 3, and then we're going to go ahead and fix all these. So 4, and then 5, okay? Then down here, we're going to do 6, and just do it as the regular count. Make sure you get these correctly, otherwise you may have some issues later if you don't. Okay, now let's go ahead and go back to what we were doing. So now we can go ahead and we should be able to just grab and drag and it'll give like a default number here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight this, and the only thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just call this 0, okay? That's it. That means that's 0 for the face. We don't need to type face and everything in. We're just going to keep it very, very simple. So let's go ahead and just drag the rest of these out onto there, okay? So, and actually we can just finish adding them. And all that's going to happen is it's just going to populate the different materials. So yeah. Let's go ahead and zoom that out a little bit. Oh, don't want to do that. But we do want to grab right here. Make sure you got the green check mark while it's highlighted. And yeah, I know this is tedious, but you're going to learn as you're developing your own demos and games and things. This is just part of the process. Now, normally I would speed through this process, but I figured it would be nice for you guys to see everything. And besides, most people scrub the video anyway, which is okay. It's fine. As long as you learn what I'm teaching, I'm really happy about that. All right, let's go to 8. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go to number 10. And the nice thing about this is, oh, see, I made a mistake there. See that? So we can go ahead and highlight this, and where it says index, we're just going to delete that, okay? And now we can go back and grab the material like we were supposed to. Okay, so we're almost there. Wait, make sure did I get, yes. Okay. Okay, now remember, we're going to need to make sure we can activate all this stuff here, okay? So we can move this in a little bit closer. We're gonna hold down the S key, right? And hook this up. No different than the appearance one. And we're going to definitely see, we gotta hook up the body mesh here. We're gonna hook up all the different face parts. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add one here. Maybe, I think we need one more here. And we're just hooking all these up to the executions, okay? So yeah, you shouldn't need more than 3 or 4 right here, okay? Do a compile. See, compile and save. See what we got. Oh, yeah, so like I said, you're gonna have to make sure that you add the rest of these. So, all right, let's see what we got. So we can add this here. Oh, I'm sorry. Do a Control Z. Don't do what I just did there. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hook up to the target. So I forgot to add that. So hook up to the face target here, and that should fix everything for you as far as the errors. So make sure we drag off the face because we're changing the face color, okay, or that particular attribute of it. And then I'm going to explain more about what's going on here on why you have so many different face, materials and things, okay? Okay, so just so you can see the full thing, we're going to dock it to the side. And that's basically how it should look as far as the actual color. Let me fix that. All right, so I'll leave that on the screen for a minute. Hopefully you can copy it. We're going to check out the appearance as well. And this is what the appearance looks like. These two functions are very important. Now that you've seen these, let's just go ahead and go to the event graph. And in the event graph, we're going to lose some space over here. We're going to right click and we're going to make something called, we're going to do a custom event. So type CUST and enter. We're going to scroll in a bit and we're going to call this the male color. Not that males have colors, but just for this example, okay? And then we're going to make another one. And we're going to call this, you guessed it, female color, right? Okay, now we're going to need to have, for these colors, we're going to need to create a variable. Now, right here on the left-hand side, you're gonna hit the plus sign for the variable, And for this variable, we're going to call it, let's see, let's call it S, let's call it character color ref, maybe. Let's do that. So character color ref, okay? And then right here for the character color ref, we're going to need to do a structure. And actually, we're going to need S underscore, I think it's character color. So yes. So now this variable represents that, okay? Now all we have to do here is we're going to hold down the Alt key and do a left click and drag that onto there. We can do a compile and save real quick. And right here on the left side, you're going to want to split this pin structure, and that's going to give us, and we're going to hook this up as well. And this is where we can add our different characters' attributes, okay? So that's for the male. That's the male color. Now here's the female color, right? So we're going to do that same thing. We could just left click here, and we could just go ahead and do a Control D for duplicate. And now we have that, okay? Do a compile and save. Okay, for this next part here, we're going to need that color function. So we're going to go back to our function list right here. And remember, we're doing strictly the male and female color. And we can drag that here. And now you've got it, okay? Oh, let me move this over. Wait. And actually, you know what? We can delete this because we're just going to copy that whole thing over. So right here. And right here, let's go ahead and right click, and we're going to split this pin structure as well. And we're just going to line all these different parts up. Okay, so actually there's another thing we're going to need to do here. We're going to go back into the function. And all we're doing, I'm just going to double click into it, right? And then right here for this, I'm going to rename some of these, okay? Just to have consistency. So this is the part that I had meant to do, but that's okay. So all we're gonna do is just go from 1 through 14. So this is 0, right here, this is 1, and then just do that in order. Okay, so after you've compiled and saved, then everything should be normal. So if you look here, you got 0 through 14. This is all the face stuff that's covered, and the body 0. So now if we go ahead, we click back into our event graph, now everything is clean, and we can just hook everything up 0 to body 0 to 0, and then all the faces to their relative part, okay? And the reason this is important is because certain things are covering like the teeth, certain things are covering like the eyeballs, and we don't want to have the eyeball color on the, let's say the teeth color, or we don't want to swap any of that stuff around. That's why it's important that we put all these in this order and be consistent, okay? Now we can go ahead, take this right here, highlight it, Control D, and now we have our second set right here. And we're going to do a compile and a save. Okay, so we're about to hit another speed run part. So I'm going to show you why. Right here, we're going to scroll in a bit. And right here, I'm just going to show you how to do this about once or twice. And then I'm going to speed run the rest of it for both the color sides, okay? So right here for the body, we're going to select the body, right? And we're going to go to the viewport. And what we want is the material, the element 0. That's what we're using right here, okay? So we hit this little triangle thing here, or I mean not triangle, this browse feature here. If we hit that, it'll take us directly to it. Now, it's gonna be a little back and forth. So now in order to not confuse us, we're gonna make sure, I'm gonna close the appearance one temporarily, okay? And we're gonna go, I guess we don't really need this one either. We can close this out. So now you're just dealing with the event graph. But now remember, because that's highlighted, and this is the body for the female, because we're in the female, we're going to use this little arrow here, and that's gonna populate that. And that's gonna set that. Now, here's the kicker. We have to do that for everything. So we're gonna go back to we're gonna select the face, right? We'll first do a compile and save. And then for the face, what we want to do is we're going to need to select the face and scroll down until we get to the material. Now, this should look familiar. Look on the right here. You see this? 0 through 14. So what does that mean? You're gonna just hit each one of these and go all the way down and populate all these down in order, okay? Now remember, make sure this is correct because if any of these are messed up, it's going to look weird, okay? So all right, this is the part where I'm gonna speed through the male and the female. And actually, while I'm here, before I speed through, let's go back to our MetaHumans, and I'm gonna go to my John MetaHuman, and I'm going to open him up because he's got a blueprint too. And once it opens up, we're in John right here, right? And what we want to do is the same thing with John. We're gonna, choose his body and his face from here, the same exact way. So let me just show you, set it up. So this is the body underneath material element 0 is what we want. And then for the face, we want the same thing. So we want to make sure we can see all of John's attributes here. And we're going to do it exactly the way I showed you with Jane. Okay, I'm going to show it one more time. Okay, so for the face, we're going to go to 0. We're going to first click on the magnifying glass, and we're going to get the face. And you see here we got all these different faces. Just to explain, these are called level of detail. So the higher the number, I believe it's the more detail it is. This has to do when the camera's looking. So the mesh that you see is changing constantly as you're looking at it. That's why metahumans are a little bit tougher to deal with because of the whole LODs and the nanite thing. But all right, enough of the explaining. Let me go ahead and populate this. Okay, so once that's done, we're gonna need to make another variable. So the next variable we're gonna make is, we're gonna call this character appearance ref, okay? And then for the actual ref, we're gonna look for character appearance. Okay, and we want, see that S, this is that, like we did with the color, same exact basic principle, okay? Now, while we're here, we're gonna hold down, well, first let's do a compile, save. And we're gonna hold down the Alt key and do a left click and drag 2 times. Let's see, let's do it again. And we're going to grab the actual, the male, we're gonna make the male and female appearance part, okay? So now, well, actually, let's see, we don't really need to do it this way. Let's see if I can make this easy for us. All right, so we're gonna right click and we're going to split the pin structure here. We're also going to split the pin structure on the other side. So it's just a right click and left click to split it, okay? And then while we're here, we're going to take we need the actual, the function. So we need the appearance function. We're gonna grab and drag that onto the port here. And we're gonna hook it up. And then just make sure we connect everything up to it, like everything, like face goes to face, body goes to body, and so forth. Take the time, do that. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this up a little bit. And right beneath it, we're going to just do make sure this is highlighted. Do a Control D, and we're going to have these two right here next to each other. Okay. And we can scroll in here, and what we want is we're going to do a right click, and we're going to do something called a flip flop. Okay. And that's just going to allow us to toggle between the male and female materials and color. Right? Okay. Now, while we're here, let's just make sure we right click and just type in male color. Okay. And we're going to hook that up. Now, the reason this populated is because we made the color down here. See that? So we're going to do the same thing. So the male color is at the top. We're going to right click and do a female color. Okay. And then right here, for this example, for this tutorial, I'm just going to use a middle mouse button. So I'm going to type in right click, type in middle mouse button. So that way, when we're with this character, we're going to set it to this. Okay. Make sure you do a compile and a save. Now, here's the fun part. Once again, I'm going to speed run this the same way we did the other one with the color. I'm going to same one again. So right here, in this instance, I'm just going to start with, we're going to make, this is the female color here. So just to make it simple on us, let's just go ahead and highlight this, hit the C button. And what we're going to do is we're going to check this for the bubble. We're going to change comment to female, right? And then we're going to change the color to, I guess, let's see, typical default is. Now, make sure we do a compile and a save. All right. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to move this down a little bit just to make it a little bit neat. And we're going to highlight this one, do the same thing. Just hit the C button, and that'll give you the color. Check the bubble box so you can see it from a distance, and then we're going to change this to a blue. And do a compile and a save. Now, to start out with, let's just go ahead and start with the actual, this character is here. We're going to start right here, okay? So you see we got the face, so we're going to start with the face here. And we're just going to go here and we're going to get the skeletal mesh asset in this case. So we're going to hit the little button here, and then we're just going to go ahead and populate it here. Okay, that's for the face. Now, what we're going to need to do is, we also need to do the body. So let's go ahead and we're going to select the body, right? And we're going to select it down here, like so, and we're just going to populate it in here for the body. Now, for the rest of this, these are going to be groom assets, and then you're going to do the exact same thing. So right here, see it says fuzz. We're going to select fuzz, and from there, let's see, we go to fuzz, and we want the groom asset. So we're going to go right here, okay? And we're going to populate it right down here, okay? And then we're going to do the same for the rest. I'm just going to walk through them, and I'm going to speed run it so you guys can see it, okay? Here we go. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to do here just to add on to this. So while we're here, well, first let me fix this real quick. Instead of just saying comments, let's just go ahead and make this male, okay? And we can do a compile and a save. Now, for some reason, if you get any type of floating hair or anything, it's because the bindings are off, and I'm going to show you how to fix that real quick. So if you go into the appearance here, and this is just the universal function, so this appearance right here. And what we want to add is for this hair here, we want to set this. I think it's groom bindings. Set groom binding asset. Let me see if we can find that real quick. Let's draw it off of here. So set binding asset, that's what we want right here, okay? That's going to be important. And right here, we're going to take this and drag off of here. Now, keep in mind, we're connected to the hair, and this is inside the function, and we're targeting it. But right here, we're going to take this so we can expose this variable to the function. So right here, just right underneath the beard here, we're going to set that real quick. And it's called in bindings. You can leave it at that. That's fine. Hit compile and save. Now, let's go ahead and head back to our event graph, and then you'll see we got a new little thing right here, right? So what we want to do is we want to populate this. We want the binding. This is what's going to stop hair from floating or getting misaligned. So let's go over here to our John, right? Select his hair, and we're going to do the binding asset, okay? So we're going to do the browse feature like we normally do. We're going to go back to Jane, and we're going to set that for the binding for Jane inside of the male, okay? Now, right here for Jane on the female, we're going to use her hair. And we're going to go down, and we're going to go to the binding asset here. We're going to highlight it, and we're going to go back while it's highlighted, go back, and we're going to set that as well. Then we're going to do a compile and a save. Yeah, now, like sometimes it may not happen this way, but if you want to ensure that the different bindings for the hair fit, just make sure you add this binding here. Okay. Now I could have added this to the function or to the actual structure, and you can do that as well. But I just did a simple quick fix here because I saw a problem, and I just wanted to show you guys that, and I hope you're learning from what I'm showing you. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a compile and a save, and let's go ahead and test this out. I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna hit the F11 just for the heck of it. And I'm walking around, and if I hit the middle mouse button, I become the male. And then back and forth. So this tutorial is gonna be very valuable once you guys see the next tutorial I show you. Again, welcome again, true creators. Nice, you completed the video. Let's see what you can do with the next one. Let's go.